Welcome to Blonde Cards and Crafts. Let's make something together. Hello crafter. In this tutorial I'm going to be using the Made to Surprise dies, and this is the 5x7 Celebrations Twist and Pop die set. This is how I store them. They're in a clear sleeve on a magnetic sheet, and these are all the dies that come to decorate your card. And then on this side I put these two dies. This one here is a mechanism and this one is the panel pop out. So we're going to cut one of these, the mechanism, and one of these, the panel. And this is what's going to pop open in our card when we open our card up. So I have my two pieces die cut out here, and I'm going to fold and burnish them on the score lines. And you need to make sure you do this well, especially on the mechanism piece. This is what makes our card pop and twist inside. Now you need to make sure that you score down on all these score lines, burnish them really well. So I have that done now, and I'm happy with the mechanism. Everything is burnished and, pressed down really well. Now I'm going to work on this panel. So we need to fold these so that we have an M shape, and the open part, the bottom of the M, is what's going to be towards the outside in our card. So these are the mechanism pieces for inside our card. Let's have a look at the card itself. So for this birthday card, I have printed up some images and a happy birthday Callan on my computer. Now I'm not selling this card, it's a gift. That's why it's okay for me to do that with those images. So I have a 5x7 card. It's a 10x7 piece of card scored at 5, but I get these with matching envelopes, and I'm going to have it in the landscape position. This blue piece of card measures 4 3/4 by 6 3/4, and then this image piece measures 4.5 by 6.5, and this is going to be the front of our card. Lovely. Okay, so next I have these panels that are going to go on our pop-out panel piece. So we're going to need 4 panels, which I have 3 ready here, and then this one. So our blue panel here measures 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, and then my white panel measures 2 by 3, and that's also the size of the images there as well. But that's the layers that I'm going to use for the pop-up panel part. And I've used some stamps from my stash as well as some dies from my stash too. I just love this one with the yay. I've printed up the happy birthday Callan, and I've cut that out, and that's going to go across on the inside of my card, as well as these letters that I've die cut out, which will say Callan and 6. These are the dies that I used for the Callan's name and his age, as well as this is the die set, this stamp set that I used for the Have an Awesome Birthday and the Yay. And I'll leave links to everything that I can find available down in the description below. Okay, so I'm going to speed everything up and go through assembling our card. So you can see here I'm putting the pop-up panel strip in between our mechanism, and then that is going to be set on the inside of our card, and it'll be set just along the score line about halfway. Now you can eyeball it or use a ruler, and I like to use a ruler because I tend to get things wonky if I don't. The bottom of this needs to be lined up then with the bottom of our card, and I'm making pencil mark there so that I know how far I need to put my glue onto the legs of this mechanism piece. So I'm using liquid glue, and I'm going to slip that one in there, and then I'm going to pop glue on the other panel, and I'll use the liquid glue so it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. And then I'm going to try and get that nice and straight in between the legs of the mechanism. And then once you open it out, that's how it's going to sit. So now I'll put this down in the card where it needs to be, in the middle, just up against, but not on top of the score line, because the card needs to be able to close. I'm going to use some liquid glue again here. Then I'm going to close over the card, keeping everything straight, flip it over, and then I can put some glue on that mechanism triangular part on this one. Now you need to leave it a little while. Sit it down there, put something heavy on it, and leave it for a few minutes. I know within 40 seconds that glue will have taken, but the longer it's set there gives more time for the glue to set or to go off, makes it better. So when you open the card, you're not putting pressure on the mechanism, because if the glue is still kind of a little bit wet, then it's going to pull the card apart. So advice there, do the rest of your bits and pieces while your mechanism is setting in your card. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm assembling the rest of my panels and my front. And there you can go now, just adding a little bit of pressure, but everything has set nicely there and it opens up well. Now you could put panels on the inside of that card. You could use the same mats and layer sizes that we're putting on the outside. You could do inside and then put your mechanism inside if you wanted. I will put another mat and layer, a blue mat and a white card layer on the back. And I find that because we've mats and layers on the front of the card, you need to have something for the inside. Otherwise, when you open the card, it won't sit, it won't be balanced, because the weight will be on the front panel. So I recommend either put a mat and layer on the back of the card where you can write a sentiment, or else put a mat and layer inside before you stick down your sentiment or your mechanism. So where I'm putting the sentiment there, I could have put a mat and layer piece in there. Okay, so now I'm going to stick down my 4 panels. I would recommend you do this before you put in the mechanism. It is easier, but this is the way I've done it, and I've made a couple of them, and it's no problem to do it this way, to be honest. But if you'd find it easier, you can always do it before you put the mechanism together. But I've done it this way. And using the liquid glue is grand because, again, it gives you a bit of wiggle room. So there we go now, it closes nicely. I'm going to stick down the Happy Birthday Callan, and like I said, you could put a mat and layer in there before you stick down your mechanism, and that will help counterbalance the weight on the front of the card. But I think it works out fine. I'm quite happy with it. I've used 2 of the dies that came in the Twist and Pop die set that I used, and that's Celebrate and Party. You can use these dies to die cut out on a piece of card and then stick that down, or you can use the word itself like I'm doing here. So I'm just going to embellish the top of the card there with the Celebrate, and I'm going to put the Party in as well. And I was making sure to take note, when you close the card, the mechanism sweeps across that panel there where I'm sticking down the Party, and you want to make sure you don't stick anything on there that's going to get in the way of closing the card. And that's what I was doing. I was making sure when I close the card, the Celebrate and the Party die cuts, words that are there, they won't be in the way. The same with the Happy Birthday Callan, that's out of the way and won't affect how the card closes. So that's our Twist and Pop card. I hope you liked the video, and if you did, you might give it a thumbs up. And if you're a subscriber, thanks for subscribing. And if not, you might click on the bell icon. That way you'll be notified when I post new videos. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And until next time, thanks for watching, and bye for now.